Hello, this is A Deeper Look with Lisa Nicole Alexander, podcast episode number officially 1. So welcome, come on in. I'm super excited that you've chosen to watch and or listen. If you're driving, please don't listen. Please don't watch, but you can listen on Audio Boom and also on audioboom.com and also on our website at standupsurvivor.com. I'm the founder of Stand Up Survivor, a nonprofit organization where we work with survivors of domestic violence and their children, and we also work to educate the community on all things domestic violence. So I'm super excited about official podcast number 1. I'm excited as we continue to learn and grow through this podcast thing. I thank you for your grace as we work out all the kinks. But come on in here because guess what? This topic doesn't have time to wait. This topic doesn't have time for perfection. This topic doesn't have time for me to, in my perfectionist self, to figure it all out. We have to have the conversation now. Why? Because someone's life depends on us having this conversation. Someone's life depends on you hitting that share button. Someone's life depends on us talking about domestic violence now. So guess what? I push past everything else I may feel and fear and worry about and have the conversation because someone needs to hear about it. Podcast episode number 1. So here we go. My mama always tells me I talk too fast. So if I talk too fast, I just say, slow down, Lisa, slow down. Okay. So guys, feel free to put any comments or anything that you guys have down, and please feel free to subscribe, send us emails. If you're interested in being a guest, please feel free to send us an email or inbox us. All right, so I'm going to get started. Today, I'm talking about a topic that we all have heard about, but I don't think we really know so much about because we can't figure out why we still turn on the TV and people are still being killed due to domestic violence. And it's not just adults, it's children. Innocent children, innocent survivors who don't deserve to die, don't deserve the end of their life to be taken from someone by the hands of someone else that has lost power and control. I don't really have a better way to say that because honestly, the devastation of it really gets me. It's one of those things that just really tear me up. Really tear me up. Not like tear me up, but tear me up inside because it's preventable. It doesn't have to happen. There has to be something that we as a nation can do to end domestic violence. It has to be. So we're going to start talking about some of those things here on this podcast. And today's topic is leaving. You may have heard, well, why doesn't she just leave? Why doesn't he just leave? If she loves the kids, she would just leave. Well, it's not that easy. Leaving is big. And so there's so many different facets of why someone leaves, why someone doesn't leave, why it takes them so long to leave. And so we're going to talk about some of that today. We're going to try to go in depth a little bit into some of the reasons why. Okay. So I have like a smorgasbord, probably said that wrong, of information here in front of me because I'm a researcher at, just through my degree and understanding the psyche of individuals and why we do what we do and how we do what we do. And I like to bring you just facts, but also through my own experience and through other survivors' experiences. And that's why it's really important to have some experts on here in their field talking about how it relates to domestic violence. So I've rambled long enough. Why people don't leave. Well, one of the biggest things I'm going to talk about, I'm going to just hit it out there right in the gut. Threatening to hurt them, to kill their children, to kill their pets, to kill their family or friends. And one thing I tell survivors that I work with all the time, if they've threatened you, believe them. Don't say, oh, I know them so well that he would never, she would never. Says who? Believe them. If they have threatened you, believe them. And I think one of the biggest things about that is like, oftentimes it's not just they take the victim, the children, the neighbor, the pet. Let me tell you, a recent study by the American Journal of Public Health said that 20% of homicide victims of domestic violence were not the victims themselves. They were family members, friends, neighbors, people who intervened like law enforcement or bystanders. Bystanders, yes. They're going into the job, shooting up the place because of a domestic violence incident. They're going into places of people's employment. It happens in schools. Let me tell you something. It's that serious. It's that serious. So I think what I struggle with, I'm so passionate about it because I've been there, and I also get so frustrated turning on the television and seeing all these people die at the hands of domestic violence because an individual has lost power and control over them. Domestic violence affects so many people. not just the individual themselves. We could talk about, and we're going to delve in on another day, the children that are left behind in murder-suicides. The parents that are left behind in murder-suicides, the family members, the co-workers, the church family, the companies. I mean, really, it's not an in-home problem. I posted the other day on Stand Up Survivor Facebook page. I said, domestic violence is not a private family matter. It's a crime. It needs to stop. It shouldn't be happening. What can we do about it? If you have some ideas of why people don't leave or how they can leave, go ahead and write in the comments. We'll talk about it. All right? All right. So they threatened to hurt. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, but it's a podcast, and I guess I can do that. But I'm passionate about it because I know it's what God has called me to do. And I know that there are women, men, children suffering because of domestic violence at this very moment. So how dare I not open my mouth and speak about it? I can't do it. It's my life's work. All right, so talking about, well, where will they go? If they leave, if they pick up and leave right now, where are they going to go? Shelters are packed. And on a side note, it amazes me that, the usually women and children have to leave to go to a shelter. But the abuser can stay in the home, can maintain the home, get access back to the home. But the survivor has to go find a shelter or place to stay. Something's got to change, you guys. Seriously. All right. So fear of judgment. What if people didn't even know about the abuse? Are you sure you're going to leave this time? Are you ready this time? Because remember last time you said you were going to leave and you didn't. Fear of judgment. What are people going to say when they find out what I've allowed him or her to do to me all this time? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? They don't believe in divorce. Well, we have children together. We got married for better or for worse, so death do us part. My faith, my religion, they don't allow us to get divorced. I should go home and I should submit. But we're going to talk about domestic violence in the church, another topic, on another day. It's a hard decision. Sometimes people don't want to leave. They love the person. They don't want to leave their partner. I've been with them for so long. I know them so well. They know me. Who else is going to want me? That takes me into another reason why they don't leave. Self-esteem. One thing that abusers do so well is break down the self-esteem of the individual that they're in a relationship with. And they start from the beginning. Do you have to wear that? That doesn't look good. You should wear that. You really shouldn't hang with them. Oh, they're not really your friends anyway. Your mom's a little bit too clingy. You probably should just hang out with my family or just with me because my mom's a bit off too. Yeah, you know what? We should just stay home. Our family is all that matters. Matter of fact, why don't we go out of town, and move somewhere where it could just really be us and we can focus on us. I know it sounds weird, but when I tell you it happens, it's exactly what it sounds like. Another survivor can agree with me too. So they've isolated them to the point where there's no one that they can call. There's no one that can run, whose home that they can run to. So after they've broken down your self-esteem so low, it's like, no one is going to want me. Who's going to want me with all these children? And the abuser would have the victim believe these things to be absolute truths. Transparency on my end, and I'm going to try to be as transparent as possible with my own domestic violence journey, is that with my ex-husband, he could have told me that the sky was green and I would have believed him. I see it's blue. You see it's blue. We all see it's blue. But he had me in such a mental state where he could have told me that the sky was green and I would have believed him. I know it sounds crazy. Well, it sounds crazy now, but when I was in it, what do you mean? He said the sky was green. The sky is green. So when you see a survivor talking to you as though what their partner says is real, is law, because it's what they truly believe. A lot of brainwashing and manipulation goes into being able to have power and control over someone. And that is big in domestic violence relationships. That's how they're able to continue to keep the cycle going. Okay. Another reason, fear of starting over. It's interesting with that because it's like, I know the hell that I face in home. What about outside there? I don't know what's going to happen out there. And oftentimes the abuser has the survivor thinking, what you have here is the best you're ever going to get. I treat you the best you're going to ever get treated. No one out there is going to take care of you or treat you the way that I do. It's worse out there, so you're better off in here. So you have that fear, that anxiety, thinking, oh my goodness, what if I do leave? What if it's worse out there? I'm better off staying. Like, I know the monster that I sleep with in this home. But what about the monsters out there? I don't know anything about that, so I'm afraid. And it's a fear of starting over. It's a fear of starting over. Not wanting to break up the family, not wanting to have the children being raised without one or both parents in their life. Not wanting to be a statistic or raised in a single family home. You don't want that for your child. I get that. I was one of those people. I did not want to get divorced. Did not want to get divorced at all. My parents had been married for 50 years. Literally just celebrated 50 years. And I was like, I don't want to be divorced. I don't want to raise my children without their father in the home. Like, how could I do that to them? I was raised in a 2-parent household. I want to raise my children in a 2-parent household. Well, let me tell you. And I tell people all the time, like, I feel like divorce is like a death. To me, it felt like a death. It felt like a funeral, like a death of all of my dreams and hopes and wishes that I had for myself and my children. But, you know, it's like, it would have been a death, but it would have been my death for sure. And so while I didn't want a divorce and I felt that feeling of demise of the marriage, I'm just glad that I'm here to still be here to be with my children. And so, yeah, that was that. Let's see. The fear of the unknown kind of ties into starting over. You don't know what's going to happen. What if you do leave? And I think oftentimes, even in basic life, we have dreams and desires and things we want to do, but we don't do them because we don't know what's going to happen. But imagine if once you step out and do what you want to do what you're called to do, and leave or relationship or whatever you're supposed to do, and it's amazing on the other side. But guess what? You'll never know if you don't take the opportunity, if you don't step over that block of fear and walk into the unknown. You know, and I'm so thankful that I did, because I remember praying to God. I said, God, please, I just want to be happy. I want to be at peace. I want to know what love, healthy love looks like. And he's gifted me with that. And I just pray, Lord, please don't let me die without knowing what that looks like. Because I couldn't understand the pain that I was in. I couldn't believe that this was life, that I had to live like this forever. And I'm so thankful that he gifted me with the exact opposite. And so the fear of the unknown is a really, really big one. What about the kids? How do we tell the kids that, you know, we're separating? But let me tell you something. Whether you tell children or not that domestic violence is going on in the home, they sense it, they hear it, they see it. They don't have to be there for physical punches and blows. They don't have to be there in the room to hear someone demean you and disrespect you and put you down. They could be in the other room. And children learn what they live. You're giving the opportunity for the cycle to be repeated in your life. And even for myself, I knew that I didn't want my son to grow up to be abusive like his father was. It was very, very important for me to be able to break that cycle in his life, because I didn't want that for him, you know. And I tell him now, I said, boy, you'll never lift your hand at no woman. And I'm serious about it, you know, and you should be that serious about it, because that's someone's child, that's someone's daughter. And that's my son. I want him to be a good, grow up to be a respectable young man. All right. What else? So statistics say that the most dangerous time for a victim is when she decides to leave an abusive relationship. So yeah, just leave. But do you know that time is the most dangerous for them? It's so much easier to say leave, but what happens when she leaves? The risk of danger increases. One study found that men who have killed their wives, that either threats of separation by their partner or actual separations were most often the precipitating events that led to the murder. And that's from the NCADV. So they knew they were either served with papers or they knew a separation was coming, and that's what caused them to kill their partner. Guys, that's big. So saying just leave, it's a lot easier said than done. There's some stuff that has to be put into place in order for a victim of domestic violence to really get to the place where they feel strong enough and have the help that they need to leave and stay gone. Oftentimes, I think the average is 7 times. Is a woman would leave 7 times before she leaves for good. Leave her abuser 7 times before she leaves for good. I'd have to say I probably left about a dozen. Literally got on a plane, packed all of my stuff that I could fit in suitcases, and left. And guess what I did? Weeks later, after he convinced me to come back, packed all my stuff back up, took both of my children, who were 13 months apart, and went back. Over and over and over again. Yeah. Okay. So, many reasons why they don't leave. Oh, did I talk about this one? Maybe I didn't. Are resources available? So when a survivor is ready to leave, are the resources that they need available for them? They're most likely going to need a place to live. They're going to need a job. They're going to need probably a vehicle if they don't already have one. Want to make sure that they're safe, that they're in a safe place where the abuser can't find them. Want to make sure that the kids are in schools where they're safe. Guys, there's so many different facets to leaving. We'll just get out. Yeah, but when they get out, then what? We want to make sure that they have the resources that they need when they're out. And guys, this comes from the top, the president, all the way down. So if someone calls the church that they attend and they ask for assistance, that they should be able to get it. If they ask for support, they should be able to get it. If they, if they go to their local shelter or domestic violence advocate agency, they should be able to get the help that they need. Are the resources available when they're ready to leave? All right. So feel free to inbox me, hit me up with any other thoughts or topics that you may have regarding why they leave, why they don't leave. All right. So this is really quickly. If you're in an abusive relationship, I just want to say a few things to you really quickly. Okay. You are not to blame for the abuse. There's nothing in the world that you could do that would force someone to physically, emotionally, psychologically, sexually, financially abuse you, and you don't deserve it. Okay? You are not the reason that they abuse, no matter what they say. If you didn't, then I wouldn't. Or I only did it because it's a lie. It is false. And they're saying that to just get into your head. So here I am throwing back truths at you, okay? It is not your fault, and you don't deserve it, okay? You deserve to be treated with love and respect. It's funny, I tell my, when I talk to little kids about domestic violence, and I'm like, girls, they're like flowers, and this little kid repeated to me, she's a flower, she's delicate, and you deserve to be treated with care and love and gentleness. It's what you deserve. It's what you deserve. You deserve to be safe and happy. You don't deserve to go to sleep in fear every night. You don't deserve to wonder what the mood is going to be when they walk through the door, whether they've had a good day or not, if that depends on how you and the children's night goes. Okay. This is a big one. You're not alone. And this was really big for me too, because I really literally felt like I was the only person in the entire world who was experiencing domestic violence. I did. I had no idea. I had no idea that this happened to women every day. Women are killed every day as a result of domestic violence. That the things that he was saying to me and about me wasn't true. But I had no idea. I had no idea. I had no one to call. I didn't know what to do. So here I am telling you that you are not alone. Okay. And that there are people that want to help you. Okay. I know that the resources, not a ton of resources, but there are some available. And sometimes, just so you know, there are some people who are not ready to leave their abusive relationship, and that's fine. Would we want to pick you up and swarm you up and take you away because you don't deserve another day of abuse? Of course, absolutely. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes, they have to stay in the relationship longer than they would have hoped to. Okay. And if that's the case, we want you to be fully equipped in the home. Okay. So some of the things that we want to make sure that you have is that you have safety plans. Okay. And that you are in a safe place that you can, we want to make sure that you safety plan, that you have things in place that can keep you and your children safe. Okay. One of the things is have a safety plan. And if you need help with a safety plan, email us at least@standupsurvivor.com. Go on our website, inbox me on Facebook, and we can work together to create a specific safety plan just for you. Okay. But one of the big things is having a safety plan in place and making sure that you're safe. Like you have a code word, you have a bag or something packed already with your important documentation. If you are in a situation and the violence is starting to escalate, stay out of important rooms in the house. Stay out of places like the kitchen, out of the bathroom. The kitchen has weapons and knives and, stuff that can be used to hurt you. And we don't want that to happen. And so we want to make sure that you don't put yourself in places like that where when it escalates, something can be reached for, a knife or a fork or something that can be danger. Try to avoid small enclosed spaces that don't have any exits, bathrooms, closets, and things like that. Let's see. Okay, so I was talking about a code word a few minutes ago. Have a code word that you can come up with for maybe your neighbors, your friends, your family members, you text them a code word like oranges, and they know, hey, she needs help. Hey, everything is not okay. Hey, somebody come grab the kids. Hey, someone call 911. Whatever it is that you decide to use that code word for, make sure that you have a code word that to let people know that you're in danger and that they need to call the police for you, okay? Let's see. Have an extra copy of keys somewhere or leave them with someone. Also, if you can get like a little flip phone or one of the cheap little phones, that's also a good idea. One of the things that abusers like to do is take your phone and break it. When I tell you the MO of abusers is so typical, oftentimes it's just so typical. So you don't have a way of communication with anyone. So if you have that little flip phone that you can use, that's important. I divert, but for a part of my story, my abuser, we moved literally on the top of a hill in Alabama, and I had 2 young children, so I couldn't come down the hill, long story short. But he would break my phone all the time, and at this point, he had broken my phone and didn't have a phone. And so I asked a neighbor, we lived in a condo, and I asked a neighbor to take me down to the dollar store at the bottom of the hill in town. And I went with her and I got a $5 phone, like the kind of one that plugs up into the wall. And so he didn't know I had that. He still doesn't know I had that to this day. Ha. So, and it was one of the, old ones with the little connection spiral thing to it. And so I would call my parents from there, let them know everything was fine. I'd make up all kind of stories and lies as to what happened to my cell phone. But I would have that to communicate with everybody I need to while he was at work. And when he was coming home, I would wrap it up and stick it in the kids' closet under their clothes. And he didn't know that I had access. He had me with no computer, no phone, no access to outside. So you do what you need to do to survive, guys. Okay, what else? Okay, so memorize emergency contact numbers. These days, we don't memorize anything. I can probably only tell you a handful of people's phone numbers, okay? So it's really important that you have phone numbers for people that are necessary, that can help you, that can keep you safe. That's going to be really, really important. So try to memorize a few phone numbers. That's going to be important. And even for myself, I don't know how much time I have left on here, so I'm trying to spew some things out really quickly. So like I said, leaving is not always easiest, and some people are just not ready to leave. So please feel free to share this podcast, you guys, with someone who may not be ready, or anyone who may be experiencing domestic violence, or you're not even sure. But anyway, I ramble. So if you decide to stay, you just want to make sure you have some of these things in place, okay? Make sure that you have someone who knows your situation. I think it's so important that someone knows your story, that someone knows what's going on. I had best friends who knew exactly what was going on. If I called them, if I text them, they were there and they knew. They knew what was going on and they knew what I needed. And they kept my secret. And I know that may sound crazy, like, how could they keep your secret? But I'm telling you, they couldn't have told me. They would have probably been putting me at more risk by sharing my secret than telling it. But when I needed them, they were there. In the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, whether it was just a phone call or literally needing to pick me up, they were there. So have someone who knows what's going on in your home, that you're able to be completely honest with, that knows your story, that can vouch for you, can say, hey, can keep your, any threatening text messages or emails or pictures or anything like that you can send to them. Have someone that you can trust that has this information, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so I think that my time is a little bit up on this podcast, because I had recorded a whole one before this, you guys, and it cut me off. So I want to make sure that I don't get to that point. So today I just talked a little bit to rehash about leaving. Some of the reasons that people don't leave, delve a little bit deep into that. Also shared a little bit about if someone is not ready to leave, safety planning and some things that they can do. And so we will do a whole podcast on safety planning for those that continue to be in abusive relationships, and even for those who have left, because even after someone has left, safety planning has to be in place. Oftentimes abusers don't just give up because you decided to leave, as you can see if you turn on the TV. And so it's important that even after they have left, that there are tools and things in place. You have changed locks, you have moved schools, you have the job knows about what's going on. Guys, I can go on forever, but that's why it's my calling. So anyway, podcast number 2. It's a little bit short. The other ones are going to be a little bit longer, but I'm still working out these kinks. But anyway, so please like and share this podcast, make sure you listen to it on Audio Boom on our website, standupsurvivor.com. Our Facebook page is Stand Up Survivor. And if you need help with safety planning or know someone who does, please feel free to inbox us, at least at standupsurvivor.com, or inbox us on our Facebook page. And guys, if there's some topics you want to talk about, if you have any ideas, comments about leaving, safety planning, please feel free to write it down in the comments, all right? And we'll talk about it. All right, see ya.